Hi, I'm Harriet. I'm from Townsville and I'm out here on the Great Barrier Reef where I've just gone for a dive and seen the bleaching event unfolding here on the reef. Last week, the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority announced that a widespread but variable bleaching event was unfolding across the marine park, with the most severe bleaching happening in the central region, which is where I live, off Townsville. The fact that this is happening in a La Nina year when we usually expect cooler weather is really scary, and it's the first time that this has happened. And I think it shows the consistent pressure our reef is under from climate change. I've been diving on the Great Barrier Reef for 10 years. I learnt to dive in the Whitsundays, and visiting the reef is still my absolute favourite thing to do. And seeing bleaching on something you love so much is absolutely devastating.
I'm Dr. Selena Ward. I'm a reef biologist. I work in the School of Biological Sciences at the University of Queensland. I'm also the Academic Director of Heron Island Research Station, and I'm a board member of the Australian Marine Conservation Society.
And what are we doing out here today?
So we're coming out to a reef about 40 nautical miles off the coast of Townsville to see if there's any bleaching out here, how widespread it is, what species are involved, all of those things. Well, we're at Stanley Reef, which is a beautiful reef, but there's plenty of bleaching here, a lot of bleaching in the shallow water, a lot of different species bleaching, so not just the branching corals, but also a lot of massive corals bleaching in the shallow water. Still lots of beautiful corals here to see though, particularly on the slopes, but some parts of the slopes are really white. So it's quite variable, but we'd expect that on a reef this large. Look, it makes me feel really sad, and I think I'm at a disadvantage here because I've been working on the reef for so long, and so I've seen it have so many bleaching events now and cyclones, and it's always sad because I feel like this shouldn't be happening. We should have been able to fix this, but bleaching event after bleaching event, and you know that each time there are going to be fewer corals left. So yes, the reef is good at recovery when times are good, but we always lose some, and that makes me feel really sad. It's a genuine sadness that lasts. Well, this one's concerning because it's a La Nina year, and we're usually fairly confident that in La Nina years we'll be okay. Traditionally, bleaching events have been in El Nino years, and that's because that's when we get the highest temperatures. And with those high temperatures, we get very sunny times, and you need the combination of the temperature and the light to have a bleaching event. But in La Nina years, traditionally, it's been much cooler and we've had more storm activity. So we're cutting that light with rain and cloud cover as well. But this year, of course, it's a La Nina event and we have a bleaching event. So that's the first time. Well, there's a lot of good work that's going on around restoring reefs and high-tech solutions and genetic solutions for bleaching events, but really the only way we're going to save the Great Barrier Reef in the long term as we know it is by dramatically reducing greenhouse gas emissions to deal with climate change, because climate change is by far the biggest threat to the reef. Well, I tell them that, I mean, there is a strange beauty in bleaching. The bright white and the fluorescent colours. We saw some beautiful fluorescent colours, but they're bleaching colours. So to expect that, it's not all horror when the bleaching event is taking place. But we do at this site, it looks like they've had some stress for a while because we've got a lot of recent mortality, and some of the corals that are bleaching are starting to die too. So that's what we'd expect, and particularly if you come back later, if the bleaching event lasts long enough, if the temperature keeps rising, if we don't get some cloud cover, then we could get mortality here. So then you would come and you would see dead corals, which really aren't as spectacular, and they're not what people are going to pay lots of money to come and see in their holidays. I'm Dr. Selena Ward. I'm a coral biologist at the University of Queensland. We've come out to Stanley Reef today to have a look at the bleaching, to see how much is out here. And it's pretty sad. I've seen worse bleaching events, but there's a lot of bleached coral out here, and it's our 4th bleaching event in 6 years. It's really time that we have to act fast now to try and save the Great Barrier Reef as we know it. And the only way we're going to do that is if we reduce greenhouse gas emissions dramatically, and we reduce them now. We don't have time to wait. We don't want to have the legacy of losing this magnificent Great Barrier Reef.